Hi, my name is Alina Eisenhauer, and today I'm coming to you from Sweet in Worcester, Massachusetts. Today we're going to be making a Asiago and goat cheese grilled cheese sandwich with tomato jam and balsamic reduction, which is kind of just a fun, different, upscale, grown-up twist to your regular grilled cheese. So we're going to start off by doing the tomato jam, which is really, really simple. You're going to start with either cherry or grape tomatoes, whatever you can get or prefer. You're going to put them onto a baking sheet. I like to line mine with foil. You don't have to. It just makes cleanup easier. And then drizzle the tomatoes with olive oil. Sprinkle them with salt, as if you would salt any food, kind of lightly coating the whole thing. And then you're going to do the same thing with sugar. You're going to sprinkle the tomatoes completely with sugar. You're going to throw them into a 350 or 400 degree oven. If it's hotter, just watch them. And you're going to cook them until they burst and they start to get a little bit of brown color on them and they shrivel up a little. And they go a little bit beyond them just to dry them out, so you take a little bit of the extra moisture out of them. Take them out of the oven, let them cool down a bit, and then you're going to put them into a food processor with maybe a couple tablespoonfuls, just a couple little bunches of basil, rip it up, pulse it lightly. You do not want to make this into a sauce. It's a jam, so it should be thick and kind of chunky. And that's it. That can be put to the side, and we'll serve that later with the grilled cheese. The other thing that we're going to do as a condiment is balsamic reduction, which is one of the most beautiful things you could ever learn how to make. It works really well with any kind of cheese. You can actually, for a quick little appetizer, just take pieces of Parmesan cheese and drizzle them with balsamic reduction, just like that. Perfect. What you're going to do is you're going to start with a decent balsamic vinegar and just something that you have in your house. We're going to take about a cup and a half, 2 cups of that. You're going to put it into a saucepan. You can really do any quantity you want. And then to that, you're going to add some sugar, about a tablespoon, just to sweeten it a little bit, take the edge off a little bit as it reduces down. And that's going to go on to medium heat, and you're going to cook it until it's reduced by about half. You want to watch it as you get towards the end, and you're going to look for it to be thick. It's maybe a little bit thinner than the consistency of honey, maybe like a maple syrup consistency, and that's perfect. You got to be careful, it goes too far, it's going to get really thick and probably ruin your pot and not taste good. It'll taste really burnt. That's it. It works beautifully, again, with tomatoes, cheese, but you can also, very traditionally Italian dessert, you can serve it with strawberries over ice cream, and it's delicious. So now that we have the sides and the components for the grilled cheese ready and working, we're going to put the actual sandwiches together. What I have here is some focaccia that I've cut into squares. I like to use focaccia or ciabatta, but you could really do this with any bread you like, thin sliced white bread, Italian bread. It will work with absolutely anything. You're going to take here in this bowl, I have about a cup and a half of Asiago cheese, shredded, and a cup of a nice soft goat cheese. Anything, whatever your favorite kind is, anything you prefer. I always try and get something local and super fresh. You can go with slightly more Asiago, or you can do just an exact 50-50 ratio, whatever you prefer. The goat cheese has a little bit more of a tang to it. The reason that I have the goat cheese in this recipe is that it melts really nicely. Asiago on its own wouldn't be quite as creamy. So the goat cheese makes it a little bit creamier and just adds a tiny bit of a sharpness to it, a different tang than the Asiago. So all we're going to take this cheese mixture, I like to actually pat it almost into a patty first in my hand. It makes it easier and neater to get it on the bread. You don't have to do it. It's nothing technical. It's just neater. And then you're just going to put that right on top of your bread. Do it again for the other one. So the amount that I have here will make about 4 sandwiches, and I have this cut, the focaccia, to about the same size as a sandwich loaf if you were using regular sandwich bread. Again, I think if you make it with a country bread or a focaccia bread, something with a little bit more texture to it, you're going to get a nicer sandwich, but it's pretty delicious on white bread too. So once we get both of them covered pretty evenly, I'm just going to put the tops on. Now at this point, you could do this ahead of time, really even up to a full day ahead. If you were having a party or something you want to serve these, wrap them individually in plastic wrap because they're going to stay fresher that way, nice and tight. Put them in your refrigerator and leave them there. And then when you're ready to serve them, ready for your party, you're just going to take them out and pop them on the grill. I prefer, this is kind of big for one person to eat, so I prefer to serve them in mini sizes. And a little tip is to cut them before you put them on the grill, because if you go to cut them afterwards, you're going to lose the cheese all over your board. And the cheese is the best part. We don't want to lose any of it. So I'm going to cut these into 4s, so they make these cute little mini grilled cheeses. But then when I put them onto the grill, I'm going to keep them really close together as if I hadn't cut them. And that's, again, to keep us from losing too much cheese and keep it a little bit neater as we work. So I'm just going to move this over. Now I'm doing this on a panini press or sandwich press. You could do it on like a Foreman grill if you have that type of a grill, or you can do it the old-fashioned way in a frying pan if you don't have a grill. I prefer to use the grill because when you have the heat from the bottom and the top at the same time, it's a little bit quicker and more even, and I just find that the cheese melts really nice on the inside, and you kind of get that runny, gooey grilled cheese that is absolutely perfect. So you're going to cook the sandwiches until the cheese really starts to melt and kind of just starts to run out the side of the sandwich, because a good grilled cheese should always be runny and gooey and creamy and cheesy. And at that point, I take them off the grill so you can see it's all perfect. And I'm just going to place them on the plate. Again, if you're having a party or something, you'd take a whole bunch of these and make a really big plate and put the stuff on the side. And then I just put the tomato jam on the side so you can put a little bit on it with a knife or spoon. And I take the balsamic glaze. I have it in a squeeze bottle here. You don't need to have a big fancy squeeze bottle. You can just take a spoon and put some on the plate. And I just put a little bit of the balsamic glaze. And then the way I like to eat it is dip it in the balsamic glaze, put a little bit of jam on it. Perfect sandwich.